Don't give up, you gon' be on. Don't give up, don't give up, give up. Don't give up, you gon' be on. Don't give up, don't give up.
Greetings, Redheads. Thank you for joining me in another episode of your favorite show, Red's View. I am your gracious host, Jay Red, and I got a very, very special guest with me today. He goes by the name of Mikey D, the Rhyme Heater. What's happening, man?
Yo, I'm here, baby, maintaining. Thanks for having me, brother.
Absolutely, absolutely, man. Man, like I just got a couple of your tracks, man. I was listening to them, and they give me that true New York essence. You know what I'm saying? Like that true traditional hip hop. Is that what you were going for?
Exactly, man. I just wanted to do it today. You know what I mean? I wanted to do what I was doing yesterday, but I wanted to do it today. So, you know what I mean? It's just like a Back to the Future type thing.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So how long you been doing this, man?
Man, listen, bro, I was like 13. So you could actually say for 40 years.
40 years.
40 years, man. I was 13 when I started doing it.
Wow. So what was it like? So you wrote your first rap at 13?
I wrote my first rhyme. I had to be like 13. This was like 81. So we're going to break this down. Hold on. 1981. So I wrote my first rhyme because my boy from next door, my man D Money, he played a cassette tape with Grandmaster Caz from the Cold Crush Brothers, Kumo D versus Busy B. Those three right there is what it was. And Caz said this rhyme about a girl named Yvette, and when he spit that rhyme, that was it for me. I went home, wrote a rhyme about a girl named Kim. That was the first rhyme I wrote, and the first person I let hear it was my nana, my grandma. She liked it, and when she liked it, I knew I had it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So that's the thing, man. It's nothing like writing that first rap and you get, gratification from somebody saying I like it, and then you just go from there. So after that, when did you start like recording, like, you know what I'm saying, and putting out like projects and material?
Well, we did it was a while, because like what we did first is we started making cassette tapes, the TDK tapes, and my man Dave Moore in the Sun Porch. We had this group named the Grandmaster 3, which was my man Kid Ice, Little B, and me. And we just started making cassettes. Now, Kid Ice was the one that introduced me to hip hop with that tape, you know. So we started emulating these guys, and that was that. We were just making tapes. Then DJ Johnny Quest got down with us. He used to call himself Mr. Freeze at the time. And, we were making tapes again, But then Johnny Quest and myself went to this brother's name up north. His name was Private Eye. Private Eye was with a group called the Rappomatical 5 back then. And they were like, but Rappomatical 5, Professional 5, and the Clientele Brothers were the biggest groups in Lawton where we came from. And we were little guys, you know what I mean? So we went to Private Eye's house and we made a tape off of a 4-track. And it was called Here's Johnny. That tape hit the streets and went crazy. I mean, that tape was like a record. I mean, like all of the guys from Queens that made it could spit the first 4 bars of that tape, rhyme for rhyme. Like Q-Tip, he's done it. LL Cool J, he could spit those rhymes. You know what I mean? Running them. That tape was it. So we still were just, making tapes and going to the park jam and rocking the parks. And they used to record the park jams and stuff like that. So we didn't start making records until I think the first record I made was with a group called the Clientele Brothers. And this is when Jesse Jackson was running for president. And we made a record called Run, Jesse, Run. And we were on Nia Records. This was before the Marley Scratch and all of that stuff. And the Aleems, they were, some producers and singers, they produced it. So I was young. So that's when I first made a record. I never really was thinking about making records. I just wanted to be the dopest rapper in the hood, you know. That was it. That wasn't my thing, you know. But yeah, that's how that went.
Yeah, so yeah, man, but you stuck with it and then you were able to go into it. So how was it like with getting into the rap game at that time back then? Because you know, nowadays, you know how you said you record on tapes. Now you can record on your computer. It's so easy to just upload. And back then it was like a grind. So how was it back then, like compared to now?
Back then you had to pay dues. You really had to pay dues. And like nowadays, any and everybody can do it. And there's no, you know, no. Like if you whack, you win. You know what I'm saying? Back then, if you was whack, you was told you was whack, you was treated like you was whack. And you did not want to pick up another mic. And there's a lot of MCs from back then that quit. You know what I'm saying? Because you really had to pay dues. That's the only difference. And I paid hella dues, man. I mean, I walked from hood to battle anybody and everybody. I went from park to battle whoever. I never turned the battle down. I was the loudest one out there. I was the littlest one, probably the cutest one too, but nah, you know. But it was just one of those things, man. You really had to pay dues back then.
Yeah. And I was speaking to another guest about this, like the aspect of biting somebody's style. You had to have your own style back then.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let them know how critical that was if you stole somebody else's flow back then.
Well, if you was a biter, then you was done. You was finished. And see, it's hip hop and rappers, and it wasn't as cluttered as it is now. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, you can record on a computer and do all of it. We didn't have all of that. And back then, there was so much to do because we didn't have, you know, the PlayStation. You know, brothers went outside and played two-hand touch, roundup, and, you know, people went to the park and enjoyed themselves. There was so much to do.
Yeah.
Now, you know, everybody's in their crib and, you know, whatever. But yeah, so it was kind of hard to sound like anybody else back then because everybody had their own identity. And if you sounded like somebody, people knew it because the game wasn't as cluttered as it is now, you know?
Yeah, it was just so much. And I mean, I was born in '88, so I often go back and look at old footage and just how things were back then. And it's just so amazing to see how hip hop has came, you know what I'm saying, what it's turned into. Do you like what it has become? Because I mean, it has given a lot of opportunity for a lot of underprivileged youth to get some money. But as far as the overall, what's the culture is now, how do you feel about it?
Man, I love what it's become as far as, you know, the technology and the ones that are, you know, that want to know their history and the ones that really do this. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of these cats, well, I can't blame it on the cats. I have to blame it on the industry. Once it became commercialized and all of that, and it became this billion-dollar business, they threw a monkey wrench into the whole culture. You know, it shifted into something that it's not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But as far as the ones that are real from here, more power to them, man. I got nothing but love. You know what I mean? And I kind of like where it came. Actually, speaking of that, I just downsized and upgraded at the same time my studio. So I still can't believe how technology is. Look, we talking right now like the Jetsons, man. I'm like, yo.
Right. You look at that back then and you just, oh, that's so futuristic. And now you can FaceTime people and all kind of stuff.
Yo, it's crazy. But yeah, I love where it's at now. It's a lot easier to maneuver through it. The accessibility to others, it's a wonderful thing. You can send your vocals through the email and all of that instead of being in the studio together. Yo, this is dope. This is dope.
For sure. So you mentioned battle rap, man. With battle rapping, you see how battle rapping is today and stuff like that. So how did you get into battle rapping?
Battle rap, I was always, when I started rapping, I came in on the competitive end of it. Because like I said, the tape that I listened to was Grandmaster Caz. One of the rhymes he said was about a girl named Yvette. It was a story. It was so dope. But the other rhyme that he said, he was disrespecting a heckler in the audience, and it was crazy, making people laugh and he getting at him. And then the other side of the tape was Kumo D versus Busy B. So, you know, my first experience was just battle stuff, you know what I mean? So when we were young and we would all get together and make the cassettes and all of that, you know, if it'd be a bunch of us in there, everybody was competitive. We all wanted to be better than whoever. If it's 10 of us, you wanted to be that number one. That was me. I had to just be the dopest. So one day I was in a park called 231. And this is where, you know, Tape Master B, Amazing D Witt, and all of these dudes used to bring their equipment out in the park and rock the playground. And, you know, I was out there after making that hot tape, and, you know, we was rocking the basement parties, the house parties and all of that. I got called out to battle, man. My first battle, this dude named TLC. And now TLC, he was popping on Farmers Boulevard. You know what I mean? He was the dude.
Yeah.
And I was popping on Merrick Boulevard, Laurelton. I was the dude. But I never really battled in a public arena. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he put my back up against the wall. But I came prepared. And my first taste of blood, I'm like that pit bull, you know, like this, I like this, you know. So after that, I became very aggressive and competitive and would just look for a battle. I was like 50 is now. He's a bully. That was me back then. In the 80s, that was me. Anybody from Laurelton or anybody in Queens that knows the history of Mikey D Destruction, they know I was a lyrical bully, you know? That's how that went.
Yeah, for sure.
And it wasn't, we didn't have time to prep. We didn't have 3 months to study the dude and go on Google and find out information. And our stuff was on site, spontaneous, right then and there. We see each other, let's go. That's how that was.
Yeah. So with that, I heard LL Cool J say this a while ago. He said that it's a difference like between freestyling and I forgot he said freestyle used to be not just off the top of your dome. Freestyle used to be you know, you remembering what you written for.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. People misconstrue the two. You have freestyling, which he's talking about, and then you have off the top of the head rhyme, where you just rhyme like your shoes and the bottle in your hand and the colors don't match and all that. To whereas a freestyle could be written, it would just be a rhyme that you had in the chamber, something that you hadn't used before, something that wasn't on a record, something that nobody's heard before, but you got it memorized. I kept a full clip of those. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah.
that's what it was. I could freestyle too. I used to drink a lot of 40 ounces and I used to put the battery in my back. So, you know, I didn't care what I said, but me, I'm like a technical type of dude. It has to make sense and it has to be on point. It has to be witty at the same time. So I prefer to write, you know what I mean? But I could freestyle, but yeah. I mean, I could off the top of the head, but
yeah.
freestyling that's my thing. I love the premeditated murder.
Yeah. And to keep those in the chamber, to me, that's a lot of talent because your computer basically is like a jump drive and it memorizes everything that you did or whatever, and you just able to, you know, unload it on the chamber. So I always thought that was like real creative. So let's go into what you got now, man. Like you got some blazing tracks that's out there right now. Street Champions, Mikey D, the Rhyme Heater. It got that, like I said, it's that traditional type of formula to make it. But one thing that you say in these records is real hip hop. What is your definition of what real hip hop is?
Real hip hop is a way of life. Real hip hop is not just riding a wave. You know what I'm saying? Real hip hop is the way you walk, the way you talk. You look at me, you see hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Hip hop raised me. Hip hop is coming from here and not your pocket. You see what I'm saying? That's real hip hop. Like I'm hip hop right now. I'm at my 9 to 5. But you know what? When my boss and them walk past and they see me, they see Mikey D. They don't see Michael Darren because I carry myself as hip hop. Hip hop raised me. My father didn't raise me. Hip hop did. That's what real hip hop is to me. And real hip hop is me not compromising or changing to satisfy a wave. Like the stuff that I spit now is the stuff that I would have spit back then, just equal, you know, it's just magnified like 100 times better. You know what I mean? It's like, what I'm doing now is what I used to do back then, but I'm doper now. You know what I mean? And LL always tells me, yo, Mike, man, the talent don't have no expiration date, bro. Keep going.
Right.
Keep me motivated. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's what the music that I'm bringing today is what I'm doing. I'm just being the evolution of what I was.
Yeah, and I feel it, man. Like the thing is, OGs, right? Meaning rappers who, from the start of it to the 80s to the 90s or whatever, what we grew up to. I think, you know how they try to say that rap is a young man's game, but it's like, we don't do that in any other genre. We don't say R&B is a young man's game or rock or whatever. But with hip hop, we seem to do that, but you only get better the older you get. That's why somebody like Jay-Z in his 50s can still put out a #1 selling album, because you want to listen to what he has as a 50-year-old man or whatever the case is, you know. But like you said, I agree with that. Like,
that's right.
The colder you get.
That's it. You know, so, you know, I rap from the heart, not the pocket. So if I feel it, I'm going to spit it, but I'm going to outdo myself. I'm not going to try to outdo a younger cat. You know what I mean? I got nothing but love for the younger cats. All I want them to do is learn from my mistakes, man, and keep making great stuff. That's it. And show some respect, because I live for respect, man. If you don't respect me, then it's like, you know, no love.
Right, for sure. So let's talk about these tracks. So you got Street Champion, right? You got Bless 'Em, and I heard Rhyme Heaters. Who produced these tracks, man?
Those tracks are produced by my man Legalize. Legalize is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, artist in Russia. You know what I'm saying? Now, the way that came about is because Legalize was inspired to start making music off of a record that I put out the year you was born, 1988. I put a record out called Coming in the House. That record jump-started Legalize's journey in the hip hop. And then, you know, so many years later, he reached back out to me and wanted to produce. So we did the Day of Destruction album, which those 3 joints are from Day of Destruction. So yeah, Legalize produced those.
Oh man, that's crazy. Did he produce the whole album?
Yes, there's one track on the album that he didn't produce. Is the track with Canibus and myself called, Back to Back. My boy DJ Modesty out of Paris produced that one. But besides that one, Legalize produced the whole album.
Man, I definitely got to check that out. So
I'm gonna send it to you. I'm gonna send it to
you. Yeah, definitely. So you said you got a track with Canibus. So yeah, that's crazy, man. Canibus, of course, the infamous battle that he had with LL Cool J back in the day. How did you link up with him to get on the album?
Well, Canibus actually already knew my history, and of course I knew his history. It was just about making that connection. My manager at the time, God rest his soul, Ed Woods introduced me. Well, Ed Woods and Canibus's manager were best friends in college. So they made the connection. Once me and Canibus talked, the vibe was already there. The wheels was already in motion. It was like a no-brainer. He showed nothing but love and respect to me, and it was likewise. The feeling was mutual. So it was already a connection. So we just made it happen, and that was that. It was off to the races, man. So the joint with me and Canibus is banging. Yeah,
definitely. You got any other features on the album?
Man, listen, I got my man Chris Rivers is on the album. You know, that's Pun's son. I got, as you know, R.A. the Rugged Man is on Rhyme Heaters. Craig G is on Rhyme Heaters. And Canibus is on Rhyme Heaters. And Grandmaster Caz, he introduced the album. See, full circle, you know what I mean? But other than that, I carried the rest of the album myself because I didn't want to do an album full of collabs because I wanted to show people that I could carry my own weight. I don't have to ride another brother's coattail. I just put people on the album that I respected, that I thought was dope, I thought would you know, make me keep up with them. So, you know, that's why I put them on the album. But other than that, yeah, that's how that went.
Yeah, definitely, man. And because like when I heard the songs, it just makes me go back to what I grew up listening to. Like for me, it was like the Wu-Tang, you know,
yeah,
the Nas's, it was the Jay-Z's, all of them. But you truly get the full essence of it. And I call it like traditional rap because I feel like rap right now kind of went somewhere. Now it's still growing, but you know, like you know what I'm saying, is always refreshing to hear. Now the East Coast production, one thing I like about these tracks is that East Coast production. So how important to you is it to just keep that essence going? You know what I'm saying?
You said the East Coast production?
Yeah, that's what it, like when I hear the production, it kind of reminds me like DJ Premier a little bit, like DJ.
Yeah, well, like I said, all of that stuff was produced in Russia.
That's crazy.
But see, here's the thing. The reason I was so attracted to his production is because he reminded me of the same way my producer, Paul C. You Google Paul C.
Yeah.
He was a part of my group, the LA Posse, back in the 80s. Before he was down with us, you know what I mean? And he was the only producer that could catch me in the right element. And when Legalize started sending me beats, God rest Paul C's soul, but that's what I felt. I felt Paul C's presence. And that's why it was a no-brainer for me to jump on these tracks and do Day of Destruction, because it really, you know, resonated. I mean, you know, it brought Paul C back, man. That's what that is. So that's, Legalize is dope, man.
Yeah, and I think one thing with these producers, especially how it used to be back in the day when you would do a whole album with one producer, you don't really see that a lot these days. You know what I'm saying? Like nowadays, you see a lot of high-end producers or just a bunch of different ones, and it gives you a different sound. But I think the music was so good back then because you would hear a Rakim on, you know, one producer, you know what I'm saying? Or Snoop Dogg will be all on Dr. Dre's beats or whatever like that. So I think it's important. I think, don't you think working with one producer kind of on multiple songs brings out the best in you as an artist? Yeah,
because your vibe, you know what I mean? Speaking of Rakim, my man Paul C, before, you know, we lost him, he was working on Rakim's album. You know what I mean? He worked with Biz. He did You Got What I Need. He worked on Queen Latifah stuff. Paul C was actually Large Professor's mentor. Oh. You know what I mean? So yeah, man. So this dude is that dude, man. And Legalize reminds me of him production-wise. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So what you got next for 2021, Mikey D? Mikey D, the Rhyme Heater. What else is next? What you got coming up, man?
For 2021, man, right now I'm just I'm getting ready to work on it. Well, first I'm gonna work on this joint with my man Kool Kim from the UMCs. It's called the Collab Lab. So it's like you know, we collabing with a bunch of different artists, and we're showing people live, like on Instagram and Facebook Live, the process of making these songs, and we're letting everybody come with us from beginning to end. Working on that with him. Then I'm going to work on a EP with my man Lush One from King of the Dot.
Oh yeah, I heard about Lush One. Yeah.
I'm gonna work on something with him and with my man Phantom of the Beat, which is Haas G from the UMCs. He's gonna produce that, and then I'm thinking about, you know, it's about that time of my life to to write this book, you know what I mean? And when I write my book, I want to do an audio book, I want to do a regular written book, and I also want to do a soundtrack to my book, you know what I mean? So the soundtrack, it's going to be dope, because a lot of the people that I crossed paths with during my journey, they're still alive. So instead of me, you know, bragging and talking about what happened, I'll let the actual person co-sign, like whether it be me talking about LL Cool J or Cool G Rap or whatever, I'll let them co-sign and also be featured on the album, you know, and the name of that is going to be Mikey D, the man, the myth, the legend.
Ah, that is, yeah, that is dope, man. That is dope, man. I can't wait to hear that, man. And I can't wait to hear the album. What's the name of the album again that you got out?
This one, well, it's the one that's getting ready to drop. It's called Day of Destruction Returns. I'm gonna send it to you, man. I'm send you the link so you can check the whole joint out. This album is hip hop. It's that stuff, you know?
Yeah.
Word up. It's that stuff, man.
Definitely. So it's gonna be available on streaming platforms.
It's gonna be available on all streaming platforms. What it is we released it a couple of years ago, but it didn't get its proper just. I didn't really understand the ins and outs of dealing with a distribution company digitally, and I thought that the distribution company would do the promotion and the marketing. So I really got lost in the sauce. I thought it was too great of an album to get lost like that. So my man Rob Schwartz from Mag Multimedia offered me a situation to whereas I can have my own distribution company. So we started Pass the Torch Distribution. You know, this is a part of Mag and Sony the Orchid. Mm-hmm. So now I have my own. I know how to promote myself and I know how to market myself, and I can put the money behind it to make it do what it should be doing. You know what I mean? So when it returns, it's going to return, brother.
Definitely, man. On a large scale, it's going to get its proper just due, man. I can't wait.
Sir.
Yeah, and I'm going to give me an exclusive. So y'all
You got it, man. You got it. For sure.
For sure. Man, how can everybody follow you, man? Your social media handles.
You can hit me on @TheReal_Mikey D. So that's THEREAL_MIKEYD. That's on Instagram. That's on Twitter. That's on even TikTok. Yeah, I don't be doing the dances and all of that stuff, man. I just, you know, I put clips of rhymes. You might see me singing to my little one or something like that, you know, some cute stuff. But you can also follow me on Facebook under my real name, which is Michael Deering. That's Deering. We have a Mikey D group page, music page on there, and we have a Pass the Torch music page and group page on Facebook. So that's it. Or even on YouTube. I go by Mikey D the original, but you can use the real Mikey D, the _Mikey D tag, and it'll pull it right up. But yeah, we out here.
We out here, man. Mikey D, thank you so much for coming on the platform.
Yo, salute, no doubt, brother.
For sure. Always
Yo,
good.
how can I give you my math and all of that so I can send you this stuff?
Yeah, right. When we finish this episode, I'm gonna send it. We're gonna get it all to you, whatever. We're gonna close it out real quick. But man, anybody want to give a shout out to real quick?
Well, first of all, I want to shout y'all out for having me here. I'm really appreciative of it. I want to shout out and send my love to anybody seeing and hearing this. I love all of y'all. You know what I'm saying? It's too many people for me to say individually, and I don't want to forget anybody. So anybody seeing or hearing this, much love to y'all.
For sure. You already know, man. This is J Red from Red's View. Go to redsview.com. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/redsview. Follow me on all social media platforms @JAYR3D. This is J Red, Mikey D, Red's View, baby. We're signing out.
Salute.
Don't give up, you gon' be on. Don't give up, give up. Don't give up, you gon' be on. Don't give up, give up. Don't give up, you gon' be on. Don't give up, give up. Don't give up, you gon' be on. Don't give up, give up.